Hi everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. You are looking at my playlist for WordPress on my YouTube channel. I've looked at a variety of different ways to try to rapidly deploy a web front end using WordPress well, I'm going to go with WordPress now, but this whole video that you're about to watch with two additional segments at the end of this first segment will show you the frustration and basically the frustration and the struggle of like, oh my god, I gotta learn a new framework, if it's the Django, Flask, even Qt in its own right. The goal here is I'm trying to find a way to unify front ends through a browser. I've talked about applications, specifically mobile apps, let's say Apple iPhone apps using something like Swift. Again, same problem. You're going to have to learn new language, Xcode, and then I'm still only going to be able to deploy it for Apple Apple devices. And I can assure you from a business standpoint, that is not doable because I've tracked it. There's not enough people interested in going down that path. The second option is to try to figure out how to do it within Python. First, originally I thought it was going to be with PyQt, using the Qt framework, Qt Designer as a tool. I tried it out, looked good, and it was just a real mess. And then there's Qt4, Qt5, and combine it with the problems of Python 2, Python 3. It's a complete, utter mess, and I don't want to go down that path. In the second segment, I thought, hey, why not look at PyCharm Pro with all these different ways to deploy the front end, but I want to be able to do it in a traditional, like in Visual Studio, in a WYSIWYG kind of concept where you have, let's say in Visual Studio, you have a form, control form, you can add little controls to it like buttons and labels and graphical items and all that stuff. Press a button, or I'll do it on the fly behind code behind, and generate all the code for you as you're building out your forms, which is beautiful within Visual Studio. As you know, my philosophy with Windows and .NET, where everything's at today in May 2016, I've kind of abandoned that back late last year in 2015. So I want to stick with the world of Linux and or Mac. So that really brought me to Python, thinking you can deploy a GUI, graphical user interface, universal, that can be rapidly deployed through a WYSIWYG kind of concept, and then be able to deploy it not only through mobile, but also deploy it through the web all at once with something like Qt. That is a big failure, and I'm sure it can be done. But from my experiences with Qt, or wherever it's at, if it's 4 or 5, and talking to people, it's complete dog's breakfast, and I just don't really want to go down that path. So I've looked at a variety of other frameworks. I've looked at, as you'll see in this video, I've looked at the Django, Flask, and I can get it working, but then again, it doesn't have those rapid control forms that you can get with Visual Studio. A big plus for Visual Studio. But none of that exists, appears, through PyCharm or through the Python environment ecosystem. You still have to hand code your web framework stuff. Now, I could be wrong. There could be some visual tools out there, but you would wonder why it's not part of PyCharm. Not only that, but within PyCharm, you get this HTML template, you get this AngularJS stuff, and that's fine. But again, I'm back to hand coding all that. I really don't have the time. I don't have the patience to learn how to code all this stuff up. I already got maybe 3 languages. I just don't want to go down that path. I want it up and running today, and I get that with WordPress. So I'm pretty confident I'm going to go with WordPress and WordPress only for those reasons that I just stated. Please watch this WordPress playlist on my YouTube channel, and you'll see what I mean when you see how WordPress can really deploy stuff very quickly, and then in the back end you can easily add in the plug and play plugins through WordPress. And I've been doing it for 10 years, and I really like it, and it's up and running fast. These steps are not needing to be critical. The web front doesn't need to be critical. The back end needs to be critical, meaning all the algos running on a server somewhere on top of all the database stuff. That needs to be fast. In terms of the view, the presentation, it's not that critical. So as a result, I'm sticking with WordPress. I'm pretty well adamant about it, for at least for my own sanity and for my capability to be able to get it deployed right away, as opposed to having to relearn stuff. I just don't want to do that. So here, from this point out, you'll see 2 more segments explaining all the struggles using PyCharm and all. I got a pile of other videos you can go through. And at the end, there's another one where I just look at this Django project. I'm like, good God, I don't want to go through this. And I don't really, it's just too hairy for me. And that is, again, why I'm sticking and planning pretty well sticking with the world of WordPress. Sorry for anybody who's disappointed in that decision, but I need to get this thing up and running today. I don't want to relearn stuff to just do something that I can put up that looks like my website, working the same stuff as my current website, and we're good to go. And I can build out a private intranet for myself where I can set up a web Apache with WordPress and be able to connect through it through any device I choose, Android tablet or an Apple device, it doesn't matter, or just a simple browser, and we're good to go. I can set up, as it says in this playlist for WordPress, I can just choose a template that can render it on the fly, and I don't have to worry about any of that stuff on whatever device. WordPress is very, very advanced for that compared to all these other frameworks out there and JavaScript and whatever. So hopefully, just please watch this WordPress playlist. Watch this other stuff if you want to watch. See me, it's just struggle and blah blah blah. And again, this is why I'm doing WordPress. Talk to you later. Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Okay, so if you have been following me all along for the last week or so, there has been a number of videos I put up regarding WordPress. Now here in WordPress, I put in some videos regarding how to set up WordPress as a HTML front for potential, as a front end for a trading system that will then, on the back end of WordPress, communicate with a database, namely, let's say MongoDB, RedisDB, with the charting within the WordPress itself, and which means you can then deploy that WordPress onto a server that I've introduced in one of these videos, or a remote server, which then can be deployed through the web. So there's numerous options and advantages using WordPress. So when I was showing somebody some stuff with PyCharm, I didn't know this, but I'm gonna do this live. This is the community edition, I believe. What I want to do is, actually, let me just get out of that. Yes, exit. Okay. A couple of things here. If you come under PyCharm download, there are 2 versions of PyCharm. Let's talk maybe this one. With PyCharm, there are 2 versions. There is the community edition one, and then there is the professional one. We want PyCharm. Let's see if it has this. Okay, so as I said, we have the Pro, which is I believe $200 US a year. On top of, there's a community edition as well. So the differences are, namely, the frameworks that are supported in the community edition, which is free, and then the other frameworks that are supported in the professional. So right now, as you can tell, I'm on a Mac. Let me just see if I can load up the right version that I want, because I want the Pro. And this may, oddly enough, change everything for me. Okay, here we go. So this is the professional version of PyCharm. So we're going to try to do two missions here. First, we're going to try to play around with the Qt framework and see what it supplies. So if I go new, actually, let me do it this way. New, no, I don't want that. Okay, so I am now going to create a new project. So we'll call this test Qt, whatever it is, okay? So you can see here we have Peter Python, the Django, Web2 Flask. Now the question is, where do I find Qt? That's bizarre. There is no Qt support. Well, in that case, we'll just do Django for now. And maybe, just maybe, we may test out the other one, the Flask. Okay, so let's do the Django, see what happens here. Test, would you like to create new? No. We'll call, my apologies. So let's do this again. We will call it test Django. So this is a web framework. More settings. Django. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, so we have here admin URL, add an import from the, I have no idea how the Django works. The Django URL, I guess. Let's see. Okay, it looks like the Django's working. Starting the server. Let's see what happens here. So there's our Django basic. Cool. That's good to know. Next is, if I want to add in, is there like any WYSIWYG stuff I can do? Meaning what you see is what you get, rapid development, blah, blah, blah. Windows, active, editor. See, I don't know how far we're gonna get with this. Check out, we got version control. We've got switch task, open task, scratch files. Got a Python console, we know about that. Create a setup. Looks pretty good. So we got the run. Okay, refactoring. Code. Reformat. Navigate. Jump to. Okay. Quick definition. Documentation. Recently changed. Tool buttons. Were these just added? Okay. So we've added active editor, show white spaces, enter presentation mode, distraction mode, enter full screen. Windows, Python, edit. Doesn't look like they support any WYSIWYG stuff. That's a shame. I don't think I can do it. Let's see what I can find for Django. Django example with control with form. Example. Let's see if that works. Wish they would put the complete code in. Building a form, okay. Building a form into Django. Oh, I see. See, I'm just kind of breezing through it, and this is the sort of stuff I just don't want to have to do. I don't want to face this. Ugh. That's a lot of code just to do some simple stuff. I don't even have to worry about this in Windows. Thanks, but no thanks. Okay, let me try Flask. I don't see how Flask is any different, but let's give it a try. I just don't have the patience to learn this stuff, to be honest. I really don't want to. Let me just see what it generates. Okay, so back to, so I'll close this project. Okay, disconnect, yeah. Okay, so let's create another one. We're going to call this test Flask. Mind you, I see HTML5. There is some interesting things here we could try. I might try this HTML boilerplate. So let's just try one of these. So we will try test Flask. Let's see what happens here. Hello world. See, I think we gotta add these manually. Nothing changes here. I just wish there was, like in Visual Studio, where you could add in your controls, whatever framework it can be used. Let me try this. So I gotta go to this guy. So there you go, there's Flask running. Okay. That's not really helpful. Let me see if PyCharm supports any PyCharm WYSIWYG. Other people are looking for the same thing for JSP, JetBrains. See, I've seen this posting before. You can do it in doesn't look like it supports it. Well, if that's the case, let me just see what we can get with our HTML5. Okay, let me just test this. Test HTML5. Okay. Wow, it's a lot of files, folks. You can't even run it. Okay. I'm slowly losing patience. That's a lot of files. Let's try. I'm sorry to do this, but what is the best way? Angular, I hear that's pretty popular. Test JS, I guess. Let's see if that does anything. JSON. There's our app. Ooh. Oh, I don't know. It's frustrating, to be honest, but there's supposed to be Qt in here somewhere. Let me just see how that works. PyCharm, PyQt. Oh, you gotta get a plugin. Plugins, okay. Prerequisites. Installing prerequisites, Python and PyCharm. Python file. Run main, what does that do? Finishing, what's next? Leave comments. You know that. How to install PyQt 5 Stack Overflow. Okay, so I have to do the pip contrast. Okay, so we are going to live dangerously by installing. Let's see what happens here. Collecting. Could not find a version that satisfied the requirement. Qt5. All right. Oh boy. Just try something here. This may not work. So they say that it does support Python, PyCharm, PyQt. There we go. Built-in developer tools. Python way which it does. The Django. PyCharm provides first-class support for JavaScript, CoffeeScript, PyQt. What do we have for Qt? Custom, are there any software? PyCharm, PyQt example. Let's see what that. exe, no autocomplete. Guess you can see I'm quickly giving up on Qt. Yeah, again, abandoning Qt once again. Let's see what the Django example project. It's a lot of code. Serious amount of code just to do something simple. Okay, with PyCharm, I gotta be fair to this situation. I come under here under hosted or these sites samples, so I'm gonna use one of these. Let's say this one, it's called WebPlate. Here's the example, blah, blah, blah. This is where you get the source code, blah, 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 blah. Here you download this guy, you expand it into your Django folder. and then here is the source code. Now, when I try to run it, remember, I'm not knowing what I'm doing, just to be fair, I get that. Well, that's not my point. Look at all the code I gotta go through to get this thing running. If I was to go down this path for a universal front end, I see no reason how this is going to offer me any advantages versus what I've already presented in my WordPress playlist, because I'm not sure if this offers any advantages over PHP, specifically the WordPress, with what I want, and you know, any of these frameworks I don't think will make life any better or simpler for what my goals are. So the playlist I'm referring to is here under this WordPress, 3 videos, up and running, no fuss, no muss compared to this, and all this code, and you know, learn a new framework and basically start over. And for what? I'd like to be able to unify also the look of my website with all my charts, enabling me to connect into my backend, which will be a proposed trading system, remote on a remote server somewhere, and be able to have, I don't know, like I said, visitors, investors, whoever, be able to access my database through my trading system. And if I was to deploy using the Django, this offers no real advantage over my choice of WordPress at all. And again, I'm using this PyCharm professional IDE to try to look at this. And again, to be fair, I'm trying to be fair here, but I don't see the advantage of the code. And playing with this, I don't see the Qt, and these are the big reasons why I'm abandoning all these options, be it any of the web frameworks from Python, Qt. I just rather keep it simple, than what I know, to get me up and running right away. And that's why I'm choosing, looks like I'm gonna definitely go with the WordPress, because I know it and it's fairly easy to set up, and yeah, that's that. And the WordPress, as I said, meets my original goals of setting up a web front or web user interface for connecting into some kind of browser. So again, watch this playlist to see what I mean, and to see how I do it. Very quickly, works on any operating system with the Bitnami installers for WordPress. Hopefully I'll help you out. Talk to you later.